Guys, today I want to talk to you a bit about the Ben 10 comic book we've been waiting for such a long time. Yes, finally, the first issue of the comic book, which is perhaps the first step of the Ben 10 series we've been anticipating for years, has been released. I don't even know what to say. I want to make a separate detailed video about the artwork, but before we dive into reviewing the comic, let me tell you something that will put your minds at ease. I think the art is incredibly successful. I want you to judge it as a comic book. Just look at this cover, bro. Sheesh, it is literally absolute fire. I don't want to keep you waiting any longer, but if you want to see more of these Ben 10 news and update videos, smash that like button so I know you guys want it. We start the story right on Vilgax's ship. In this scene, we see the new version of Vilgax. Bro, just look at that absolute unit. What would you do if something like that stood in front of you? I think he'd tear us to pieces before we even had time to stutter. Vilgax is kind of flexing to the other aliens on the ship. He's talking about his success in making conquests, and we already know from the classic series just how ruthless and unstoppable of a conqueror Vilgax is. Even after conquering countless planets up until now, he hasn't encountered a single weapon, device, or anything that poses a real threat to him in the universe. However, he recently became aware of the existence of a weapon that could actually stop him. This intro, which lets us look at the Omnitrix from Vilgax's perspective, perfectly highlights the immense presence and seriousness of the character just as much as it emphasizes the importance of the device. Speaking of Vilgax's character, he's mostly shown in silhouette, but we can clearly see that he's a massive bloodthirsty monster. Even though I haven't read the comic in extreme detail yet, at first glance, I thought he had massive bulging neck muscles. But if you look for more than 2 seconds, you immediately realize that these are actually the tentacles on his face. We've talked enough about Vilgax for now. Turning back to our main heroes, we see Gwen and Ben fighting again, and poor Grandpa Max is trying to stop them as usual. When I look at how the characters align with the classic series, aside from the snarky banter between Ben and Gwen getting a bit harsher, the dialogue is highly consistent with the original series. Max also feels exactly the same as his old version. It made me happy to see that they stuck to the original series in this regard. I mean, at least for now, we don't know what will happen in future issues. As you can guess, if you've watched the classic series, Gwen says some pretty harsh things to Ben, and Ben throws a tantrum and walks away. And guess what happens next? A meteor crashes to Earth, and Ben notices it and goes over to it. An extension resembling a cable emerges from the creepy green mist, glides toward Ben, climbs up his arm, and slowly transforms into the new Omnitrix. Some changes have been made to the Omnitrix's design here. As I just mentioned, it seems they tried to give it the look of a living symbiote from what I understand. It's also designed to evoke a handful of cables. Honestly, I think it's a much cooler design. Right after Ben puts on the Omnitrix, the military arrives on the scene. While Ben is frantically trying to rip the Omnitrix off his arm, he narrowly avoids being spotted by the soldiers and Grandpa Max. On his way back to the camp, Ben is confronted by a massive cyborg bear with metallic attachments that looks like an absolute nightmare. I think this bear is a reference to a character from the reboot series, but since I haven't watched the reboot much, I'm waiting for your thoughts on this in the comments. Regardless, this bear-robot hybrid thing is absolutely terrifying and shows us just how dark of a tone the series might have in the future. You can't even guess how fast my heart beats seeing these kinds of mature illustrations in a Ben 10 series. In the original series, Ben faced many tough creatures, but none were as hard to fight as this thing with its glowing red eyes and exposed, creepy machine parts. Just as the bear is about to tear Ben apart, the Omnitrix kicks in and we see our first alien in Dynamite's new series. Oh man, just look at this forearms design. It's a new forearms designed with exactly the art style we've been dreaming of. Just look at the veins on the back of his head. We can already guess how angry he is and how much he's going to enjoy punching and smashing things. He definitely has a different outfit than the original series, but I absolutely love it. Before Ben goes toe-to-toe with this cyborg bear, he calls it Freddy Fazbear. It makes total sense that a 10-year-old kid in 2026 would immediately make that connection. Freddy Fazbear joke aside, the dialogue is so consistent with classic Ben that I can literally hear Forearm's voice from the classic series while reading these speech bubbles. Just when it looks like Ben is gaining the upper hand, he reverts back to his human form. We even see the stages of this transformation, which is a fantastic detail. But the thing that really shocked me was that after about 5 different iterations, the Omnitrix actually listened to Ben and gave him another alien. Just look at this. It looks insanely good. Ben transforms into Heat Blast. Flames surround him during the transformation, and before he even fully grasps what's happening, he roasts the bear pretty badly. Heat Blast here really just looks phenomenal, plain and simple. The metal-like mask on his face, his slightly muscular arms, his torso also made up of plates, and his hands are so good, it looks like armor worn by flames. I really loved Heat Blast's design. When the bear tries to keep attacking Ben, Ben sets it on fire, and the bear tucks its tail and runs away. Ben is so terrified that the Omnitrix is stuck to his arm that he doesn't really care about the robot bear. All this chaos draws the unwanted attention of the military in that direction. However, as readers, we cut back to Gwen and Grandpa Max. Max says he knew something like this would happen eventually, but he didn't expect it this early. Then we return to space and get a distant look at Vilgax's ship. It looks very different. I mean, I can't say it's very good or very bad, but it definitely has its own unique, very cool style. More importantly, Vilgax's drones pinpoint the location of the Omnitrix, and this time we get a detailed look at this new Vilgax. He has this blood-drinking space pirate vibe, and he's wearing a gauntlet like Thanos's. I think the gauntlet fits his style perfectly. We'll talk about the designs in detail in another video, but if you enjoy these kinds of videos on current topics, don't forget to hit the like button, and make sure to share your own thoughts about the comic book down below. Overall, I think this is definitely a very solid start for a series we've been waiting for so long. I was very surprised they chose to give such a different but hardcore look to one of the most popular aliens like Heat Blast. But despite that, it still manages to give off the vibe of his original form. Until the next video, you can go check out the video where we compared whether the completed Omnitrix or the Ultimatrix is stronger by clicking on the video on the screen. See you there.